There are two types of people I dislike when it comes to talking about Call of Duty. You have the people that think everything is fine, don't be negative, it's good, you should just be happy, whatever. And then you have the everything is terrible, doomsday, paranoid, angry people that drive me insane. It's the two sides of criticism that don't actually work. So, for this video, we're starting a new show called Boom Complains, but isn't a dick about it. So, roll the theme song.
Boom is about to complain, and nobody mind. He complain all the time, but he's not a dick about it.
Hi, welcome to Boom Complains, and today we're going to be talking about Express. Why is Express in Black Ops Cold War? I have no idea. And why are people on Twitter saying that it's feasible that this could have existed in the 80s, during the Cold War, because, there were bullet trains and stuff. Right. No, that's smart, because bullet trains existed. This carbon copy scene from Black Ops 2, the game that takes place in 2025, you're gonna tell me that when you look at this, you think 80s because bullet trains existed, and not 2025, the year that the game this is from is based in. Right. Okay, look, you can like the map and not be upset about the map being added, but you don't have to make yourself look like a dumbass. Like, you don't have to lie to yourself and everyone else. Like, that's not a... No, stop. Like, they didn't even change the color of the train. They didn't even change the time of day. It's just Black Ops 2, but in Black Ops Cold War. Like, why are the two remasters we've gotten for Black Ops Cold War, why are they 2025 maps? Again, I don't hate their addition, I hate the laziness behind their addition. Like, you couldn't even come up with a new color scheme? If Raid would have had some lava lamps lying around and some rain, it kind of would have masked that modern, clean feel. Like, things have aesthetics for a reason, right? There's a reason that anytime you watch an American film and then the characters go to Mexico, it has like a sepia tone filter. It's because it's like, oh, it's hot, it's deserty, it's southern, Like, we associate things with color. That's my problem here, is that this screams bright, shiny, futuristic, and not gritty Cold War era. Like, you could have just changed the lighting and the filter on this map, and it would have been more believable as an 80s map. I still would have made fun of it in a video. I would have said, like, oh, all they did was put a filter on it. But here I am saying, look, they didn't even put a filter on it. And don't tell me it's because they don't have enough time. If you have time to port old maps into new games and add ray trace shadows and, basically bring it from an old version of the COD engine to a new version of the COD engine, you can play with the color grading. You can play with filters. You can add a different time of day. You can add an effect that makes it different. It's aesthetically damn near identical, aside from maybe a radio on a table or the era of car that's parked next to something on Raid. It's sad. It's depressing to me, because we have not gotten a Black Ops 1 map, yet we've gotten two very futuristic Black Ops 2 maps. There are Black Ops 2 maps even that could have fit this much, much better. Like Standoff or Yemen, those come to mind as maps that you could kind of sell me on the 80s style, because one's in the Middle East and one is like a little village, and it didn't even really look futuristic in Black Ops 2, so I think I would have been fine with it. But my fear is that they would have added those without any color palette changes at all. They just poured it into the new engine so it has nicer lighting, and there you go. You see, I had a problem with Modern Warfare bringing in COD 4 maps with pretty much no aesthetic change, but Modern Warfare actually did some important changes. They added areas to the maps. They, of course, added the opening and closing doors, whether you like them or not. They removed a couple, I think, on, like, Crash, for instance. They removed some areas that were really annoying to deal with in COD 4, like, for instance, the bottom of the construction site on Backlot. I'm kind of glad isn't there in Modern Warfare 2019. Also, those maps are in a reboot, okay? Like, Modern Warfare 2019 was a reboot of the original Modern Warfare series. So it makes sense to bring those maps in, and they're modern day Middle Eastern-y maps, so it kind of makes sense that they're there. It doesn't clash with the themes of Modern Warfare. Like adding a barbershop to that alleyway lane in Modern Warfare was a really smart idea because that area is such a choke point and they gave you an actual proper flanking route on there. Love it. Cold War isn't doing that. They're not innovating these maps at all. They're not changing them up. They're just porting them in. And again, not even changing the time of day or color grading. It's kind of sad. Like honestly, it feels like this is just an amalgamation of Black Ops. You might as well, if you're going to keep going down this road, Treyarch, add in the Black Ops 2 AN94, SMR, M27, the M8A1. Fuck it, why not? Might as well put in the MMS scanner because you don't care about the Cold War era theme. Like the only other multiplayer map we've gotten is the Pines, and the Pines, I could easily mistake that for modern day if I squinted my eyes or they changed a couple billboards. It doesn't scream Cold War. Maybe it screams 80s, but it doesn't scream Cold War. There's a difference. You're making a military shooter. You're not giving me a trip through the 80s as seen through television. You're giving me a Cold War game, a military game. Why is this so hard to understand? It's weird to me that the Black Ops 4 Nuketown looks more Cold War-ish than the Nuketown in Cold War. Like you could have honestly swapped them and it would have made a lot more sense. Black Ops 4 had Firing Range, Summit, Havana, Launch, and WMD. Those are maps that are non-mistakable. Those are Cold War era Black Ops 1 maps. That sort of feels like a miss in my opinion. And I've seen weird mental gymnastics about this. Like, yeah, you don't have to be mad about it, but don't say stuff like, oh yeah, it's like what you would see at Epcot. Yeah, because that's a justification for the laziest port jobs in all of history. Like, Black Ops Cold War is already boring. Okay? Shitty ports only make that worse. I got bored of playing Express within about an hour because I've already seen Express, and in fact I've already seen that exact same version of Express but in Black Ops 2. And to add a little bit of insult to injury here, Express was balanced around Black Ops 2's movement, so how high you could mantle in Black Ops 2, how long you could sprint in Black Ops 2, the sprint out times of Black Ops 2. Like, I would hope that when Treyarch was designing Express back in 11, 12, when they were designing Express, they were designing it around the mechanics in the game that it belongs in. Modern Warfare moved things around on their remade maps because they were making a different game with unlimited sprint and mounting capabilities and doors, so they tweaked things and changed things, I think a lot of times for the better. I don't want to hear that these maps are perfect and don't need to be moved around, because they were perfect in Black Ops 2 for Black Ops 2, but I don't think they work in a game with just an entirely different set of mechanics and a whole different meta. Like, it's not that hard to understand. Maps are designed for the games that they're in, and they don't always port well. Like the High Rise remake in Advanced Warfare completely lost all of the fun elements that Modern Warfare 2's version had. Modern Warfare 2's version was really fun to explore because you had to kind of parkour around to get on top of the roof or climb up on the crane, and everything was a risk. Whereas in Advanced Warfare, you have unlimited sprint, you can double jump and thrust in the air, so all of that intrigue was gone and was replaced by just another chaotic clusterfuck map in Advanced Warfare. Well, you know, one of the reasons I really wanted to see stuff like Estate or Terminal or Derailed brought back into Modern Warfare 2019 is that I know they would have tweaked certain things. They might have actually fixed some of the issues I have with Terminal. They might have closed off a couple areas on Estate to make it a little bit more competitive. They might have made the visibility on Derail a lot better or even a lot worse, so you're not just getting sniped the moment you spawn in. Like, I don't know what they would have done, but they would have done something. On the one hand, I'm happy that Black Ops Cold War is getting new content. On the other hand, I wish it was getting thematically correct content that is new or at least fresh to look at. Having the exact same aesthetic is a really lazy move and a really lazy attempt at nostalgia bait. I don't always like it when Call of Duty devs try to completely change the entire theme of something into something else, but sometimes it worked. Like the Firing Range remake in Black Ops 2, is anyone gonna tell me that that didn't look kind of cool? That it didn't make callouts easier and it was just unique and interesting? You could have added a rainstorm and overcast to Express, change the color of the train at the very least, and remove the automatic closing and opening walls for the train, and it would have felt a little bit more 80s, a little bit more gritty. It would have been kind of nice, but instead, again, fart noises, See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.